Um,
because Mike's not looking to come on, so that's the only
well,
reason I said that.
yeah, if he comes on, he comes on, but we'll
Right.
start. First thing on the agenda, you've all gotten the minutes from the February 10th board meeting, which was they're pretty short minutes, but there they are. Does anybody have any comments regarding those minutes, corrections, deletions, what have you, regarding the February 10th board meeting minutes?
No. I thought they were fine.
I did too. And unless somebody has something else to say and I don't hear anything, I'm going to say I'll entertain a motion to accept the minutes that they are with no changes.
Move it.
Okay,
Second.
and we have a second, so I'll call the vote. Danielle,
Yep.
Jason,
Yes.
Bob,
Yes.
and I'll also say yes, and so that's done. Now, the next thing on the agenda is opening the refuse bids. I've got all the paraphernalia here. The first one that came in today, we got two bids. First one was from Bert Adams. They were both hand delivered. Nobody wants to take a chance on the mail anymore. So I'm opening the first bid with that letter opener. And see below. Okay. So the per pickup price, assuming 490 pickups, is 16 and a quarter. And the annual price per pickup is 95,000, or multiplied by 490 on the pickup is $95,550.
95,550, you said?
Yes, 95,550.
Okay.
That was for alternate 2, the 5-year contract, because alternate 1, as I look closer, the alternate 1 says see below.
So it must be that sounds like they're gonna charge the same for both.
Well, there is no bid. The way I read this is
They're just bidding a 5-year.
David, is that our bid, Bert Adams Disposal's bid?
Yes.
Yes, they were not interested in a 1-year contract.
Okay, that's the way I read it.
Yeah.
And it said this quote is for each resident to receive a 95-gallon cart, one of those ones we know what they're like, for trash and recycling. Trash pickup picked every week. Recycling picked end of week is EOW end of week.
Every other week.
Every
EOW,
other week. Every
yes.
other week. Okay, got that. So recycling every other week. Alternate 2 is just multiplying that out. The 95,550 times
5 years.
times 5 would be 477,750. $477,750. But the only thing that is noted other than numbers is about the 95-gallon cart and the recycling picked every other week. Do I have that right?
It's correct.
Yes.
So it's one cart or bin per location?
Per stop,
stop.
per resident, yes.
So nothing is noted in there if they want an additional bin? Some homes may want an additional bin, that's why I'm asking.
I did not prepare the bid, so I'm not prepared to answer that question, but I could get an answer for you tomorrow morning.
Okay, because some homes may want an additional bin, I'm just,
Well, we'll see what what they say about that. I'm not sure how that works with your other municipalities. Maybe it's just not possible, or maybe it is.
There would
That's
have
all-
to be there would have to be an extra charge. I mean,
Yeah,
if we were talking about 1 or 5 or 10 residences out of 490, we might be able to make that work. But what will happen is people will see that, and then, well, they've got one, I want one,
right.
and now I've got two at 490, and now we're losing money. So
The other areas that you cover that I've gone through, I don't recollect seeing more than one out at any residence.
that by and large, that's true, David. Having said that, if somebody is interested in paying, they just pay that, they pay the upcharge.
Okay,
Now, I don't know how you would do, I mean, that's when we're working with a customer directly. Through a municipality, that's going to be harder to bill.
right. Any other questions from the board while we have representative from Burt Adams here?
By the way, my name is Chris Klein.
Hi,
Uh,
Chris.
Bapa is what my 2-year-old granddaughter calls me. And I didn't realize that was going to be assigned to me.
Oh, that is,
the rest of my
I
life.
see that right there, but I didn't think that was your real name.
That's
No.
awesome.
No.
Okay, Chris. Well, very good.
I want to make sure I'm understanding. We would be going to this collection system where there's a bin that you can reach with an arm and dump.
That's correct.
And then recycling would be the same thing, only every other week.
Only every other week. Yeah.
And would that recycling bin be bigger?
I believe it's either the same size as the 95-gallon trash container. They may be
Oh.
using 65s, which is 1/3 smaller.
Right.
Typically, that is way overkill for a resident.
Okay.
My
Thank
wife
you.
and I live in the town of Union. We are supplied with the Broome County 22-gallon.
That's
So
what,
our smallest one is 65. The larger one is 95. I think they're both 95s, trash and recycling.
That's all right. Thank you.
But I
And
don't want to
Chris-
represent something I don't know to be exactly true.
Gotcha. And Chris, are there any limitations on the recycling items, like full glass pickup and things like that, or?
Well, I'm hesitating because glass is kind of all over the place. In Broome County, glass is still an acceptable recycled item. So yes, glass can go in there. We go to different county. I have to be careful what I say because we're in 5 different counties. Up in Cortland County, they don't want it. So we have a different collection for glass in that county, and they pay additionally for that.
Okay.
But for purposes of this conversation and this bid, glass can go in the recycling. Yes.
Thank you.
And this would not have what we currently have where they help with the junk. Correct? Because this
Bulk
would be,
pickup?
You know, Chris, we currently have, and we have for many years, a bulk pickup. It's basically the first pickup of every month there's 2 exceptions, 2 months, there's two pickups. Typically that's in the past been done totally by our armed public works crew, our 2-man crew. Some years back, the arrangement was made that the refuse hauler would help out with that.
You're talking about
Situation.
roll-off station, putting a roll-off at some location for bulk pickups. Is that what you're talking
No,
about?
it's bulk, it's curbside at the residence.
it's
Okay.
things like mattresses, furniture,
Well,
yard waste.
again, you'll have to excuse me, but at 10 o'clock this morning, I was handed this envelope and told to run it up to Whitney Point. I did not know what the entirety of the contents were. I can get an answer for you tomorrow morning, first thing.
Yeah.
I'll pick up. But that's not part of this bid, correct?
It should be. It's supposed to be provided at a fixed price under the bid specifications. So Mayor, I guess if they're missing that, then that makes their bid potentially non-responsive, and the village will have to decide whether to waive that non-responsiveness.
Nate, are you sure that was in the bid?
Yeah, I'm just looking at the bid specifications. We required a bulk pickup once a month, I think.
Okay.
And
as long as it
also,
was
I
in
think the village specifications require once weekly refuse and recyclable. There was no option to submit an alternate for recycling every other week. So, I mean, we'll have to understand and review the proposal to determine if it's responsive to the bid specification or not.
And
Might
David,
need to bid it.
David, I did not see the bid again. It was sealed when I received it. So at the very bottom of the first page, alternate 3, it said the word alternate is used for bulk pickup, refuse
Oh,
pickup.
yes, I'm in the dark. I'm a little bit out of the loop here too, because I do see that, Chris. And there was an adder for that alternate 3 or $3,000 annual adder.
All
on
right,
the
there
bid.
you are. Okay. So
Okay.
I apologize. I didn't see.
I apologize because when I said see below, I jumped to the numbers and then to the verbiage below about the 95-gallon thing and so on. But the alternate 3, which is the bulk refuse pickup, is in a $3,000 kicker annually, right?
If that's what you have on there, I did not see the bid before.
Well, that's what it says. It's
That's what it says.
$3,000
That's what it says.
annual.
Yep.
$3,000 annual. So they did respond to that in that form. But Nate's point still is the every other week recycling wouldn't conform to the bid specs, I guess. Isn't that right, Nate?
Right, and we'll need to review. I think you said there were 2 proposals.
We need to
Determine
review-
determine if the other proposal does respond to recycling every week. I mean, it's kind of with it every other week versus every week. It's kind of apples to oranges. They're both fruit, but they're very kind of different fruit. And if the village, we just need to look at both of them and compare them and determine which are responsive to the bid specs or not. You know, it's
Okay.
hard to say whether they are or not right now because the mayor just opened them.
So I
Right,
can
well-
tell you that recycling has been a loss leader for us in fact, all haulers over the last couple of years. And we've seen every hauler that I'm aware of locally go to every other week collection because we're burning fuel and we're picking up items that have very little value.
Yeah,
So
the
the only
market.
way that we were able to improve on that was to go to every other week collection.
Yeah, I feel for you guys because the market collapsed when China decided to stop taking
Yes, sir. That's
recycling.
correct.
But
That was part of my question about the size of the recycling, because I know my mother-in-law just had a change in her community where they went to a bigger arm tossing recycling, and that it has ample room for not just 1 week of recycling, but multiple weeks of recycling, to be honest. And it's a capped container, and that's what I
Yeah.
wondered if that's what we were looking at here, and why they might go to 2 weeks rather than every week with a small bin. We need it out. You know, I fill a bin up every week, but one of the bigger ones I wouldn't fill up in a week. That's for sure.
I'm pretty sure I could speak for Mr. Adams when I say that every week collection of recycling is a deal breaker.
okay, well, I'm going to hold that discussion there and open up the second and final bid that we got from Blue Moose Sanitation. And then that is, we only got the 2 bids. One other hauler was interested but decided not to bid, and that's the way that goes. So let's see what we have here. Okay, alternative 1-year contract, no bid submitted. Alternative 2, 5-year contract, $105,000, and the price is subject to contingencies listed below. And then alternative, and I'll list the contingencies now, I guess. contingencies for alternative 2. Each residential unit will be provided 2 95-gallon carts, 1 cart for garbage, 1 for recyclables. All material to be picked up weekly will be inside the provided carts. Carts will need to be placed at roadside in the manner to ensure our automated truck can safely reach and dump them. The second contingency for alternative 2 is each business unit will be provided up to 8 95-gallon carts, up to 4 carts for garbage, and up to 4 for recyclables. All material to be picked up weekly will be inside the provided carts. Carts will need to be placed in the same deal about the carts. Whatever business units are, up to 12 business units will be. Okay, I'm not sure about the discussion about business units, but alternative 3, the bulk refuse pickup. 6 times per year at the current price being charged at landfill, which is currently $45 a ton. Dates will be agreed upon before the start of the contract. Alternative 3 is contingent on Blue Moose Sanitation Incorporated being under contract with the village for services associated with alternative 2. A rough estimate of the current annual bulk item tonnage is 20 to 30 tons. Now, there's more paper. Oh, there were more contingencies for alternative 2. In the event the retail price of diesel exceeds 4.499, let's say $4.50 a gallon, the village will pay a monthly fuel surcharge. The surcharge framework would be as follows. 450 to, let's say, $5, 4%, 5 to 5.5, 5%, 5.5 to 6, 6%, 6 to 6.5, 7%, 6 above 6.5 to be negotiated. It's a fuel surcharge. Last contingency, 4. Number 4, Blue Moose reserves the right to change the weekly pickup day once during the 5-year contract, but not before June 1st, 2022 at the end of year 1, and not after June 1st, 2025, the end of year 4. So those are the contingencies. Now the other thing I have is the non-collusive bidding certification form, which both bids have, which is the thing that they've signed, and they appear to be both signed.
David, you mentioned that Blue Moose alternate 2 is at $105,000. How does that break down per stop in over 5 years comparatively?
Well, I guess it would be 525,000 if I did it right in my head.
Right. Okay.
Um,
And then
as Nate said on the previous bid, we'll just have to review these things and see exactly how they stack up, because it's not exactly apples and apples. There are certainly differences in the bids. This looks like Blue Moose is indicating providing more 95-gallon carts than Bert Adams, but I guess I'm not intimately in touch with the exact specs in the bid, but which I should be, but this thing about business units and so on, I'm not sure where that fits in. Does anybody else have any questions or comments regarding both of these bids?
Chris, did you mention a pickup day? Was that mentioned in the bid, or David, was that for Bert Adams, was a pickup day specified in the bid?
It may have been specified in the bid, but or in the specs, but it's not specified in the bid. There's no mention of it in the.
I imagine our request mentioned Tuesday mornings.
I believe it did. Did it not, Nate?
I was assuming our request is is mentioning Tuesday, and you see that Blue Moose said they have reserved the right to change that, and they once during the life of a 5-year, it can only be, you know, during
Right.
after the first year and before the last, but
So Mayor, the bid specs do mention pickup needs to be on a Tuesday.
yeah,
And then also the bid specs require that bids be on a per pickup basis. So I don't know, I mean, you've mentioned these kind of top line dollar figures, but they're supposed to be broken down. There, you know, there's 490 pickup places.
well,
What's the cost
Nate,
per
to
pickup?
be fair to Blue Moose, I just said the 105,000, but over in the parentheses, they say that equals 490 times $214.29. Okay, so
Gotcha.
they did do it on a per pickup.
So,
So folks, I'm going to bow out now. Linda, I wondered tomorrow, because there's a lot of information on the Blue Moose stuff that I was not able to capture a
sure.
lot of that information. Would I be able to get that from you yesterday so we can do our own comparative analysis back in the office
Tomorrow.
Nate?
Yeah, you know, it's subject to a FOIL request.
Yeah.
I mean, you can just submit a FOIL paperwork to Linda.
And I believe the
very
FOIL requests are on our village website.
All right.
I mean, the short answer is yes, she can provide
Yes,
it.
you
Just needs the paperwork.
Yeah, I just need the right form.
All right. Very good. Thank you very
And-
much.
Thank you,
I just
thank you,
want to,
Chris.
I just
Yeah.
want to make sure that we're not making a decision tonight. We want to review the materials
We
on hand.
normally have the lawyer look at the.
That's what I was going to say. We want Nate to review these as well. So we'll not make a decision tonight, correct?
That's correct.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's just too hard over Zoom.
Right.
Yeah, definitely too hard to resume.
So we'll provide those to Nate tomorrow to make a decision, just so you know, Chris.
Okay,
Very
so
good.
what I think we need is I'll entertain a motion to, in fact, to review the bid specs and review the bids and come to some agreement on which way we're going in a subsequent meeting. Somebody want to make that motion?
I'll move it.
Okay, do we have a
Nate?
second?
Hey, right, Mayor, I think the motion would actually be to just table discussion
Okay,
on this until the next meeting.
Right.
right, well, that's what I'm saying then.
Right.
Okay. But
I'll
do we
second it.
get a second then on that?
So who
I'll
moved it?
second.
Who moved? Jason moved it?
Mr. Mayor, can you tell me the per pickup again for Blue Moose? I could not catch that when you said that.
I'm losing my audio here. What was that, Bob? You want the per big Blue Moose?
Yeah, yes, I want the per pickup. Bird Adams is 16 and a quarter. I'm wondering what Blue Moose, I couldn't catch what you said Blue Moose.
$214.29 times
Wouldn't it be 105,000 divided by 490?
That's
yeah,
what I was thinking.
yes, that's what it is. 105,000 divided by 490 is $214.29. According to,
No, that can't be right.
Can't be right. Not if you're coming in at 1629. So
That's what was bothering me was one was 16 and a quarter and the other was in hundred.
which is why we need to review have the attorney. review
well,
that.
that's a good point. Maybe the decimal point's off or something. I'm just reading it in the, you know,
Yeah.
at one time I was pretty good with numbers, but the thing is,
All these numbers are making my head hurt.
I
That's
retired
all right.
6 years ago.
I'll
I mean, that's,
calculate it later.
but anyway,
Right.
if that doesn't work out, we'll have to get some clarification on that, but
I'll
But we're,
calculate.
I'm understanding that his yearly bid is 105,000 and in over 5 years, it's 525,000, correct?
well, that part is,
That's how I took it as well.
that's the way I understand it. Just because that's what I'm multiplying out in my head, but if 490 times 214.29 doesn't equal 105,000, then we've got an issue there.
Agreed.
So
Okay,
we'll,
folks, I'm gonna bow out.
that's
and,
probably a good thing.
Yeah, and then I'll get a hold of Dana and Bert in the morning and they can foil a request for the results from you,
Sure.
Linda. Thank you.
Not a problem. Thank you.
Bye.
Okay, thanks, Chris. Thanks for coming.
Mhm.
So Linda, do you have a calculator handy? What does that add up to? What is the
$214.29 times 490 does come out to 105,000.
Oh, it does.
It does.
Okay, well, that's,
But that seems like
thought
a
somebody said it
big
didn't.
difference when you're
Huh?
looking at 1625 per 490.
well, let me look at,
That's divided by 12.
yeah,
Monthly
16,
rather than
Is
yearly.
that Chad? Or is that Dave?
Dave, you have to divide that number by 12 for the per month stop.
Ah,
1786.
thank
Yeah.
you.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
I just see the
Well,
phone
it
number. I
does-
didn't see the name.
it
Sorry,
says- I
sorry
was just
about that.
reading-
I wasn't
I was
sure if
just
you were
reading
Chad
what
or
it
if you
said
were
on their bid. It reads per pickup price, 1625.
Per
or
month.
Bert Adams.
Per month. Whereas the
But it doesn't say, okay,
So-
Blue
so
listed
for-
per year.
on the,
So one of the things I think we're all struggling with is we all don't have copies of it. And
Correct.
once
Well,
David distributes it, we can all take a good hard look at it instead of
Absolutely.
trying to ask David a bunch of questions.
well, the thing is, what I'm looking at doesn't say per month anywhere. So that's, I mean, I just reading what they wrote, 16 and a quarter is the pickup price. But I don't see any multiplier of 12, but they picked up on that. It just doesn't say that here at all. It just, and then it goes and said, pickup price multiplied by 490 is 95,550. But anyway, these are the reasons why we aren't
And-
making a decision tonight and we're tabling it. But did we finish, did we get a second on the table?
We did. We
And
just
so I'm going to call that vote. I
Yes.
want to get that done. Okay, so I'm going to call the vote on tabling it. Danielle?
Yes.
Okay. Jason?
Yes.
Bob?
Yes,
And I'll say yes as well. Okay. These bids are tabled. We've got some work to do. Assume that we will talk about them again at the next meeting, which is already quite a busy meeting on March 10th,
have two public.
but
hearings.
we will do it. Let's move on to something that maybe go a little smoother here.
The bids or the bills?
The abstract. Next on the agenda is the abstract. All gotten copies of the abstract. The vouchers as well as the summary. Any comments regarding the abstract?
There was nothing really out of the norm for any of them this time. There was no big bond payment.
Everything to me looked fairly standard and explicable. It was, like Linda said, nothing, no gaps or holes and, nothing, to be concerned about. And everything looks good, all the funds, all the particular things, but,
The fire department has gone ahead and done their preventive maintenance, so you will see that in the bills for priority service, fire service. So that's in there this time, which is one of his 2 times a year that he does it. So. And as we tracked the other night at our budget meeting, the NICEAG bill for the fire station was a double bill because they never billed last time. So that's understandable why that was almost $1,000.
all right. Any more comments or questions regarding the vouchers and the abstract as a whole?
No.
That
I
being the
move we pay
case,
the bills.
pardon me?
Thank you, Bob.
I move we pay the bills.
Okay,
Second.
that's what I was looking for. And we have a second. Okay, so I'll call the vote. Danielle,
Yes.
Jason,
Yes.
Bob,
Yes,
and I'll say yes as well. Linda, we're gonna pay those bills.
Thank you.
Now, Nate, you're on. Attorney's report.
Oh golly, so we just went through the bid spec or bid openings, so we'll be reviewing that and hopefully having a good answer at the next meeting for at least the ability for the board to make a decision. The county director of real property services earlier this month sent a letter to the village. My office has been reviewing and fielding a bunch of requests from our other clients about this demand from the county. Apparently the county is planning on, if they haven't yet already, passing a resolution by the legislature to quote unquote cancel taxes by our clients. We're not sure if that's really legal. We've put together a form letter that we're asking our clients to send to the county, which basically asks the county to explain themselves. You know, what are they citing as the basis of their authority to do this? Because it's not just cancel your taxes, it's taxes that have rolled over into the county tax bill in which the county makes you whole. And the county is saying every municipality owes them now a refund because of the COVID-related foreclosure issues preventing the county from foreclosing on properties. Every municipality is getting hit with a different number. I think yours is only a couple $1,000s, as I recall. Some of my clients have a $30,000 or a $40,000 refund demand, and moreover, the county isn't actually going to ask you to cut them a check from it. I understand, and I think maybe this was Linda who told me this. The county's going to offset future monies that they're supposed to send to you. So it's not hitting you in the pocketbook today. It's going to hit you in the pocketbook in the future. And then, of course, this also sets some sort of a precedent for them. As soon as they start canceling it for this reason, then they might find any other good reason to cancel it. So I think it's at least worth asking them to explain their claim for authority to do this. So that way we can maybe come to an understanding with them as to whether or not this really is something that they can do. Again, my firm's looked at it. We don't see it. Maybe we're missing something, which is why we're going to make the ask. And, you know, we're going to try to go from there as to next steps. So this is a kind of a interesting issue. Everybody's affected a little bit differently right now. Every client of mine in our firm may choose to take a different tack on this simply because you are all affected very differently. At the end of it, potentially, this may be a lawsuit against the county. Not that anyone wants to do that. And you know, everybody's going to have to make their own choice, and it's also, of course, potentially very political. So that's just kind of the broad lay of the land right now. We'll see what happens.
And I was
when
told by real property that we would never get that money back. And it's not like it'd be made up again next year. We'll just be out that money. And this whole thing could happen again next year, depending on when this COVID thing ends this year. So it
Yes,
could
and
happen.
when that letter came through some time ago, it immediately to me was very unclear, misleading, and unprecedented, to say the least. So that's why we sent it along to Nate. You will note that this discussion of number 9 on the agenda doesn't have to be done because we just did that. Nate just discussed the BC repayment thing, but with the details. And Nate, my understanding is some of those larger municipalities, it's quite a big hit, and that makes sense. But
Mhm.
if there's a class action or something, my advice to most communities is there's strength in numbers there. But we're not going to make any decision on anything like that now. But those were my immediate feelings. Okay, anything else, Nate, from the attorney?
So
Go ahead.
you had provided a sample letter earlier today. I put that on Dropbox as well for you all to review.
Mm-hmm.
That's something that you do want to send off to the county. I mean, I have to adjust it for us.
There's no need for a resolution from the board to authorize the mayor to sign that form letter. It is basically a request for information from the county. So I think it's more of just the mayor signing it to send it off and letting the board know that's his intent.
Have your other clients done that as well?
I expect that they will be doing so within the next week or two.
Okay. And we don't, like you say, we don't really need a resolution, but I just want everybody to be aware of it. Okay, thanks, Nate. Now, Linda, your report, clerk treasurer report.
I have a couple different things. The one thing is we got our renewal this week for our insurance. They also had a cyber breach and liability coverage quote, which is a new coverage. And that is security breach and network security liability. Limit per occurrence of 250,000 with a deductible of 1,000. And the cost to us for the year would be $645.70. It's not something that we currently have, but question is, would you like to have that coverage? I asked the question to them that we do not have servers. Does this make a difference? And they said no.
Could I read that over on Friday? Would it be possible to just take some time and go over that?
That what I read is exactly what it says.
That's it?
doesn't
That's
mean
all that-
more than that.
There's no
Jason-
description of the actual insurance itself?
No, I will try to get you one before Friday though. Jason.
We want your input, Jason.
Yeah,
You're
that's
the
why I'm
expert.
bringing it up tonight, so.
Okay.
The other thing too was my printer is starting to make bad noises. It's lasted for, I'm going to say probably almost 3 years. It's been a good printer, but I may need to purchase a printer in the very near future. Just letting you know. And the same one, which has been a really good printer, is $350. So if mine dies, can I have permission to go ahead and buy a new one, please?
You can take the one from in here because it doesn't,
Yours is not a large enough capacity to do the water bills and stuff, David. That's
Okay.
the problem. So,
well, you've got your contractual money in there, so I don't think you need a board to approve it.
we have
Right.
because it wasn't in the budget, so that's why I'm just asking the question.
Well, these things come up.
They do. They do. Okay.
Whatever, anybody can make a comment on it if they want, but that's the way we've handled those things in past years that I'm aware of.
And it's only when it dies. I mean, it's not like I'm going to go out and buy it and let it sit here for months. So just letting you all know. So
Okay,
We gotta have a printer.
I got to. I mean, I print the water bills 4 times a year with it.
okay, that it for the clerk treasurer
I
report?
believe so. I believe so.
Okay, anybody have any questions? If you do, fire away. So we'll go to the next report is dog report, dog control. Which you've got, and it was down a little bit this month, which was good. Of course, always seems to be more weekend activity than not, but that's the way it goes. There's not much else to say about it. So unless there's more comments about that, we'll go to the fire department report, which we actually haven't been getting for quite some time. I had a nice meeting with Greg the other day, and then he attended our budget meeting Monday night, and that went well, and he answered some questions. More questions have come up, but the fire department report, you have a copy of it, I believe, and it's pretty short and sweet. There is a new member being brought up. When we hear that that's approved by the fire department, they will come and ask for our approval.
Okay, Greg wants us to wait till the next meeting.
Right. There were 21 calls for service in January, and members are eligible to get their COVID vaccinations, and so on. So that's what we can say about that. Um, there's also a Public Works Department report that you have a copy of. Now, I must say the guys have been very busy with the snow. We typically are getting a 1 to 3 inch forecast that turns out to be 6 to 8 or something, and that's um, been driving them crazy. Because it's one thing if you plan for 1 to 3. We also had a lot of breaks in pump stations that seem to be happening in the middle of the night, so they're kind of frazzled. But they've been handling it. So you can see from the report some of those things that they've done. And again, item 9 is the discussion that Nate talked about, the situation. I believe I will send that letter out the way it is, and we'll join the crowd. So that brings us to old business. Does anybody have any old business to discuss?
No.
There's nothing on sewer?
No, Greg, Jeff
What?
did not get us a report.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome, Bob.
I'm going to take it easy on old business. The only thing I'm going to say is we still do have a ZBA vacancy. We do have some ideas there, and there's at least one person interested, but that more on that to come. That's it on old business. Although some of the new business, does anybody have any new business that they want to mention?
Looks like they scheduled the first LWRP meeting.
That's right. I'm going to mention that as
Okay.
well. It's a very good thing. Unless anybody else has new business, I'll jump into it, and feel free to interrupt me if you want to say something. Like Jason mentioned, we've rescheduled the kickoff meeting for the community advisory committee for the LWRP. It's going to be Monday. There's a roughly half dozen people going to be part of it that I know of, maybe a few more. It's a Zoom meeting, Monday afternoon. They put out a bunch of different times to see what would be most likely to get the most people. And I know there's at least one person who was disappointed because she works full time and would like an evening meeting. So that's one of the things we'll talk about Monday. But that's going. The LWRP situation is moving right along. With that, I put the county consultant who works for Bergman Consultants in touch with Rich Cunningham, our consultant, to discuss the synergy of the county-wide LWRP and how that works and fits in with our village LWRP. This countywide thing and even our thing is stuff that we worked on 10 and more years ago. And we've got I think I have a feeling the countywide plan is going to mirror the report that we released in 2011. And we've gotten a preliminary plan for the village LWRP when we applied for the grant finally a couple of years ago. But those things can be changed, and that's what these committees, that's what the advisory committees are there for. Input, local input, and that's going to happen. So that's all coming together. Stay tuned for development for updates and so on. Also, we're chasing grants. This is grant time. Um, we're going to have a public hearing on the 10th for the micro enterprise. There's some interest in that, and we're going to um, try to go forward on that. That's probably all we need to say right now about that. It's going to be on the agenda for the 10th. Um, in a way, the most exciting opportunity uh, out there is the energy grants that are opening up from NYSERDA and so on. Um, we do qualify as clean energy community. We started putting in LED streetlights more than 10 years ago. We completed that um, several years back. We did some other impact items that made us qualify to be the community, the clean energy community. Now, what that does, it gives us a leg up on this next round of grants. We are in the clean energy community leadership round. We already have points going towards next grants. There's other things. I attended there was a webinar regarding there was a kickoff and what we can do, what we have chances to do. We theoretically are just going to be given $5,000 because we did what we did in the past years. But beyond that, there's other things we can do, impact items um, that are very exciting. I think I mentioned to you, we plan on getting a new uh, upgraded heating system for the garage. We want to look at getting solar panels to bring in electricity to the water treatment plant. Those are very high rated projects, especially the solar panels, gets us points. Just we have designated grants that we got. There's three categories. Number one, we already got. Um, Number two, point-based grants. If you have 3,000 points, village our size gets $10,000. We already have 1,000 points. There's other things we can do to get points. If you get 4,000 points, you get $20,000. That's on top of the 10,000. If you get 5,000 points, you get 70,000. Now there's a limit. You have to be first in. Like for the 70,000 communities our size, you have to be one. There's only 4 grants out there that are going to get that far. But there's 40 communities that are going to get the 10,000, 10 that are going to get the 20, 4 that are going to get the 70. So if you get all 3 of those, you get $100,000 to use however you see fit. Things to do. New York Stretch Energy Code. If we were one of the first 100 communities to develop and codify that, you'll get $5,000 and 1,200 points. I've got all kinds of details, but I'm just laying a few things out here. There's a lot that can be done. There's a lot to do. The thing is, we don't want to ignore these opportunities. Not only is it good for the future, it's good monetarily for now. We could get a lot of these things going. So we're working with um, the regional communicator on this is working for Cornell Cooperative Extension in Tompkins County. Talked to him about 5 times, and he's very much in our court. He wants to see us do well. Several of the other things we're working with Toma on, I mentioned, and we know how Toma is. They like Whitney Point, and one of the things when we put the streetlights in, we could only do Cobra head streetlights. That's all nice it could do with LED. We have other kind of streetlights. Like in our neighborhood up there, we have post top streetlights. They can now do those with LEDs. We could convert those post tops to LEDs and get points and get grants and that sort of thing. There's all these kind of details. I don't want to bore you with them, but they're out there. and we just need to take advantage. And we're not going to get everything. We're not going to try to get everything, but we want to have, we want to do what's right for the community. And I think there's a fair amount of interest out there. A lot of these things just save people money, you know, and that's how that goes. Um, so I won't say anything more about that except that we're going to be looking for uh, going in some of those different directions and seeing what we can do. I'll keep you posted. But one of the things we can do immediately, back when Jerry was mayor, we did energy audits for our village-owned buildings. That was in 2010. Those energy audits indicated then that we really couldn't save that much with what we had. But those audits are obsolete now. We could go get those audits again. But beyond that, we could do LED lighting audits. These are lights in the buildings. It's free to do the audit. It's probably close to free to get the the work done. I'm going to ask NICEAG to do the free LED light audit. It's free. Communities would be silly not to do it, but it said, and I hope you all agree that that would be something just we could reach out and see what they say. But got a lot of information that's come through. I'm just going to they offer free energy lighting audits that I think every municipality should take advantage of. You can enroll at this village, the village at this link. Boom, got the information right there. If we want to do Stretch New York, the Stretch grant, we've got a thing on how to do it. We're getting the information, we're rolling it up, and you'll hear more. I've said enough. I've talked enough. That's my take on new business this meeting. Does anybody else have any comments?
So next meeting will be very busy, being a public hearing for sewer debt assessment and micro enterprise grant and a decision for the refuge. Jason, you gonna tie on so you can have open that our little system for
Oh, yeah.
the next meeting?
We'll have to, we should go over that.
Mine's
one of
gonna
these-
be really tied up with Zoom.
Right. We'll need to go over that again on Friday just because it's been a while since I've done that.
Yeah, so, but I just got thinking about that. We'll definitely have to have that up and
Right. And are we requesting people give us a heads up before they attend the meeting
ask
on
for
that?
it because they've got to get the information to get into the meeting, etc. We've had a few phone calls, but nothing really been out of craziness.
Okay.
The normal phone calls every year.
All right.
One more new business I forgot to mention. We are having the next budget meeting Monday night, right, Linda?
Yes. I
Monday
sent that
night
information out.
at 7. Next budget meeting. Any other comments?
So we adjourned.
Well, yeah, we'll get it done before the hour's up, that's for sure. Unless there are any other comments, I will say this meeting is adjourned right now.